This episode of the T4 Show is brought to you by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly. All streamed directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/GFQ. Hey everyone, welcome to the T4 Show. It is episode number 150 for July 17th, 2013. And my name is Michael Manna. I'd like to welcome back from Hollywood. Yes, he didn't forget us. He came back to the T4 Show. I'd like to welcome back Cole. How are you doing?
Thank you, Michael. What?
Over the jet lag yet?
I am over the jet lag. I did it right. I basically took some information that you bestowed upon me about. You told me that basically those first day is very important, that you have to, when you go to the West Coast, stay up as late as you can and then like get immediately to that new time zone, and then when you come back home, do the same thing. Even though I was exhausted, I tried to stay up as late as I could and then sleep till the next morning. But yeah, I'm fine now. I feel great, and I had a great trip. It was great hanging out with my sister, and it was fun to play celebrity for a little bit.
Yeah, if you follow Colm at Culmination, or you look at his Facebook page, he put up some pictures from the Newsroom Season 2 premiere. So you got to pretty much rub elbows with the Hollywood elite for an entire week. Who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite?
My favorite, I'll give a shout out, Chris Chalk. He is on the Newsroom, and you can also, he was on the first season of Homeland. He was Tom Walker, I believe his name was. He's been on the last season of Justified. He was a real great guy. We got to hang out a bunch. And my least favorite would have to be Olivia Munn, because she stood me up once again. I got to see her come down the carpet, and I was probably as far as I am to my door right there away from her, and I got to take pictures of her just like all the other fanboys. But she would then, as soon as they go through the carpet, we then go into this big theater at Paramount Studios and watch the season premiere. And when we came out, it was a big party outside, and I thought that would be my chance. My sister could introduce me, but lo and behold, she had another project, a movie she was working on. She had left early. So what did I do? I sat at her table. Which she had a personal waitress, which was nice, because I just made sure I always had a drink ready to go.
Wait, each table had its own waitress that pretty much waited on you?
All the major characters had their own table and had their name on it. Yeah, and you had your own waitress that would bring you food, desserts, and drinks. It was weird. It was a totally weird experience, just because I'm not used to this at all. And it was just, I mean, this is a perfect example. I believe someone told me this at the premiere. I believe it was Chris Chalk's girlfriend. She said to me, if you're really down on yourself, you're really having a bad day, all you have to do is walk the carpet at a Hollywood event and you'll feel incredible, because, I mean, it's just a giant ego-filling boost.
Never done that. Maybe I'll have to do that one day.
It's pretty awesome.
Someday. Is that guy who you said your favorite is? Isn't he the guy that wants to play games with us online too?
Yes. Yeah. I found out, I was talking to someone else, and he was friends with, and then he came over to me during the party and goes, "You're a gamer?" He was like amazed that I was too. And we got to talking, and he's a big sports gamer, pretty much like you. Like, he plays mostly Madden. He's playing NCAA now. And he plays, of course, the Call of Duty game. So he plays all the major titles, but he's just like us. I mean, he basically goes through his day, and then at night when he's ready to wind down, he goes down to his basement and he plays the games just to unwind. So that's his number one hobby too. So it was great talking to him, and I blew his mind when I told him how in NCAA you can download the real student roster names.
Yeah, that's a great, if people don't know about this great gaming site called Pasta Padre, that's where you got it from. And that pretty much is the go-to place for all the gaming information, right? Yeah,
pastapadre.com. For anything sports game related, that guy is the best blogger when it comes to sports games, in my opinion. I subscribe to his site, and he has at least 2 to 3 posts a day. I mean, he'll just post if there's like just roster changes or different animations. I mean, he is incredible when it comes to sports gaming.
You know, speaking of sports games, I know we're going to go to a gaming topic with the Oya, but I want to get your opinion real quick on NCAA 14, because We head into this time where we end up buying it, but only 2 or 3 weeks later traded in for Madden, whatever year that is, this year 14. What's your impressions on this year's NCAA?
You know what? It has that new engine, the Ignite engine. So you had said you had played it, and you said that the running felt incredible, but you were just a little iffy on everything else. So I went into it like really analyzing it because I wanted to see if I felt the same way about it. I should probably move my mic right here so I look at the camera. But I actually did like it, Michael. I mean, the only thing I could say that was a little bit different is that the players felt more, if it makes sense, like ragdollish, because like it almost seems like there was more points of articulation, and you saw more like their limbs actually like move more like real arms instead of like just from the shoulder and the wrist. It was more, they bent more. So I liked it. I had a good time with it. They really did dumb down the menu system, I thought. It's just like big giant buttons. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it made me think that they were going to try to do something with Connect with NCAA, and they canceled it because the icons in the boxes are so huge. It's like you would use your hand to motion it. That's what I thought of the first time I saw it. Unless it's somebody made this game who had really bad vision and needed to make it the boxes as big as they could.
You know, Casimir in the chat room he just brought up a story I just read actually 10 minutes ago too. He says NCAA just announced they aren't renewing the license with EA.
Wow.
And I think that probably goes to the whole thing with that lawsuit that was going on with the players' likeness in the games. So anyway, I thought it was great. I think and here's another crazy story, and we might get into this whole physical media versus digital media later on, but I went to a GameStop today to take back some games, and they had sold out of NCAA. I saw the guy buy the last Xbox version, so then I asked him, I said, wow, was that game hot? He goes, it wasn't really that it was hot, it was just they didn't really send us a lot. He goes, usually they send us tons and tons of copies, and this year we didn't get a lot. So I found that a little strange.
They're forcing the issue almost to make the digital downloads work instead of they're just not going to print the stock or the supply for it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I still think, I mean, even after playing it today and yesterday and going back to play Madden, I really do think that they made it a little less polished than Madden. That ragdoll effect seems to, that the guys don't seem to stay up as much. Now, like I said, the analog control on running with trucking, with juking, if they put that in Madden, which I assume they will, it's going to be an excellent game because the running, I was really finding myself having fun with the running game, which I never do with Madden because it's so clunky and just kind of straightforward. This, you can actually move the guy, spin him, and Tim Tebow's amazing. That's why my true joy in NCAA was playing the Heisman. I forget about that. What that feature is, where you take the Heisman Trophy winners through their career and try to match.
Road to the Heisman.
What's it called?
Yeah, the other thing is that I have to ask you if you felt the same way, but I felt it wasn't as fast as Madden. It felt a little slowed down.
Yeah, I agree. And you just got to play it. I mean, you can play the demo for free, so download the demo for your 360 or PS3. If you decide to buy it, you're going to get a good trade-in amount. I guarantee you that almost. You're going to get a good trade-in amount. $30, $30 towards Madden. So if you want something you're going to rent, create a player, and then move it over to Madden through your memory stick, that's a good solution. That's what we did mostly every year. I'm still a 2K5 guy, so I have that in the Xbox 360 ready to go. So, but speaking, that's considered to be a retro game right now. So we're going to use that segue to talk about the Ouya. And I gave my update last week, and we got into a great discussion. I want your take on that after we get your updated review on the Ouya. Do you still love it? Still amazing?
I love it. I love it. It's amazing. I think you're going to think this is funny. My number one app on it is Plex. Plex on that machine is awesome. I don't ever have any buffering issues. It just works perfectly every time for me. And then, of course, like the Genesis emulator has become my favorite emulator.
Yeah, and you gave me, speaking of the Genesis emulator, because our favorite game is probably both NHL 94. The new NHL 14 will have NHL 94 built into the game, which is
how about that?
That's great. Yeah.
20-year anniversary coming up, so they decided, hey, why not? Let's put it in there. So I don't know if it's going to have updated graphics or anything, but it is definitely going to be in the new NHL game. So I'm probably going to have to pick that game up.
Yeah, I mean, does that change your mind about the Ouya? Because that's pretty much the best game on there for retro gaming as far as the controls mapped over, translates very well, and plays still just as good as when I played it back in '95. Does that make you change your mind to see that game built into it? Or, like you said, Plex is there. So
yeah, Plex is there. Twitch is there. I mean, there's a huge gaming event going on, which they've had 50% more viewers than they ever. It's called Evo that's going on. That's mostly like fighting games. And they're broadcasting live on Twitch. And I use that a ton when I'm sitting here doing work and I just want to put something on in the background. So yeah, it's become like my streaming box with those emulators.
Oh, you know, speaking of NHL 94, Chris Johnson in the chat room says they're using the same rink and rules, but with current graphics and commentary now. They released a video saying 30 minutes. I don't know about that. I enjoy playing it without any of that stuff and just kind of plain Jane type. The hits are great. The hits are amazing in NHL 94. So I don't know if that's a good thing.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch out this video. He put a link in the chat room from Pasta Padre, so it looks like Pasta Padre has it on there.
Yeah. So the Ouya is still for $99 a great buy, and you have no, well, you can't return it. I still have a window to return it to Best Buy, but I really don't think I will because, like you said, even if I do nothing but the occasional casual gaming or just use it for Plex, and whatever else is added on after that, I think it's I think, going back to RD Lee's Google Voice call on the hotline, it has Flixster too, so I can add all those Blu-rays on as well to the thing. What I have on my Xbox Live with Cinema now.
Yeah. See, there you go. So yeah, I think if you're still on the fence, I think it's a no-brainer. I think you should go pick it up. When are you going to get one, Suncast?
I don't know.
Never. You have an Apple TV?
No.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Really?
No.
Roku?
You have a TV?
I don't have a Roku. I don't have an Apple TV. I don't have any sort of external set-top box.
Interesting.
Just rabbit ears?
No. I have the one from the cable company, but that's it.
Oh. Well, that's an external box. You said nothing.
Yeah, well, no. I'm talking about like a Roku or an Apple TV type of deal.
Oh, you're missing out.
The problem with all these is that none of them are necessarily complete. And they all lack something here and there. One does this, one does that. One doesn't do this, and one doesn't do that.
No, there's one killer feature. There's one killer feature that Colm and I are going to test with the Ouya because it runs Android apps, so you can pretty much sideload an APK file from your thumb drive onto the Ouya and run the program. The one killer feature out of all the ones you mentioned is AirPlay. AirPlay, above all else, makes the Apple TV worth it, and it's something. There's an Android version of that Colm and I plan to test to see if we can AirPlay through the Ouya, which will make it even more amazing. But the Apple TV right now, because of AirPlay, you can do so much more with that than anything else. Colm knows that's the deal breaker, right?
That is a deal breaker, hands down.
Yeah. Chris Johnson makes one more comment about Xbox Media Center on the Ouya. Add Ice Films and one channel on your set, all the movies. I know about icefilms.info. Have some movies streaming up there. But Xbox Media Center, I did not see the official app, even though I heard that the Ouya does indeed have it on there. Is that another case where you can sideload Media Center, or is it built in? I didn't see it.
Yeah, I think that's a side loader. I don't think that's built in. But that's too much. Like, I just want to use the machine as it is out of the box. And that's how, because the majority of the people I'm recommending this for are going to do it, are going to want to know what it is right out of the box.
I agree. And after this huge update with the emulators, it made it so much more. If this was before that Monday or Tuesday that the update came, I probably would have held off. Now, you said there's another update on there, and we don't know if it's a detailed one, if it's a huge one, or if it's just a security or bug fix one. but they are updating the system quite regularly lately over the past few months. So that's a good sign for Oya.
Yeah, I was sitting here today and I was trying to watch something on Plex, and all of a sudden it went to the downloading update screen, and it was like a 15-minute download to install type update. I've been trying to find patch notes, so if anyone in the chat room can send me some patch notes on it, I'd love to see what it changed, because visually I didn't see anything that had changed.
Yeah. And you don't want to get rid of the emulators. That's like your biggest fear, that it's going to take.
When that happens, it's over.
All right. So, speaking of Oya and speaking of Kickstarters or crowdfunded projects like the Oya, we were talking last week about the Pebble, and Andrew and I had a detailed discussion about these crowdfunded projects. And you were one of the people that received your Oya from backing them. Mm-hmm. But there were a lot of people at the time during episode 149 that were real mad because they did not receive their Pebble watches, but Pebble decided to stock up Best Buy with the Pebble watch. So you just like I walked in and got the Oya, I could walk in and grab a Pebble while everybody else waited for theirs, who invested a year or maybe even 2 years ago with Pebble. So they got very angry about that. And I don't know if you gave your opinion on it, but I mean, what would you think if you were a backer and I walked into a Best Buy and grabbed the same exact watch that you've been waiting for?
All right. So I listened to what you guys said, and I don't really agree, because I found this out. The ones that were at Best Buy you could only get black. It was only one kind, and most of the people that didn't get theirs in the Kickstarter picked a different color to get. And that's why I think these were made just specific for Best Buy, and these other ones weren't created that the other people who haven't gotten theirs got. So I don't think it's from the same ones they were supposed to get, unless they would have, if they had the option to switch.
That's a good point. Yeah. But don't you think that these, with what they raising what, $10 million and then even some more after that, don't you think that they should have at least known that they have? This is sort of a lot of the mistakes that these crowdfunding projects do. They overpromise and underdeliver. They should have known, hey, there's going to be a demand for so much of this, so much of that. Maybe we should at least carry or make sure that these are produced in some form or fashion before we do it. That way, buying it is great. The concept is great, but if I don't have it, I mean, that's why you and I are Amazon Prime members. We don't want to wait a year for Amazon to ship our product. I just think that you make a great point, but if it's only black or whatever, but still, I think they should really just ethically, or even just for goodwill, really not forget their backers. And I'm quoting like that. I'm putting up quotes because that's what they felt they've forgotten.
This was a similar thing, though. When I got my Oya, and when it was the day before it was coming out on Amazon, the CEO sent out a similar email saying that she was just embarrassed that other people didn't get it. I mean, these things are going to happen. They have to make these dates the retail because they have to make some of the money back. So, I mean, it's just a part of doing business. You either get lucky or not. You either got yours or you didn't, and that's just how it is. I don't know. I'm not really that upset about it. Did you even pick one up?
No, I didn't. I mean, they were sold out pretty quick, so they're pretty popular. I just thought that, that's transparency on their part, though, for Pebble, for them to say, hey, we're embarrassed, this and that, but a lot of companies don't do that. The one I just worked for did not do that. Nothing close to that. First choice of all the selections of how to react to customer service was deception. Spend 10 to 12 times more energy trying to deceive the customer rather than just thinking up the simple fix of helping them. The thing with Pebble was that obviously, Oya was a little more transparent. Pebble didn't seem to do that. And I think Pebble's unique because they're probably sweating over this iWatch coming out from Apple that everybody's talking about, still talking about. So that's what raised the red flag with me and probably a lot of backers was, wait a minute, you guys are just trying to do a money grab before Apple announces this in September, which it's not the dumbest thing in the world to do.
Yeah, no, I think when that iWatch comes out, I think wearable technologies is just going to be this whole nother section, and we're going to see, you're going to basically see Google with their glasses going against Apple's iWatch, and who knows all the other different products. But I don't know. The Pebble to me did not excite me at all. I had seen one in person, and it just didn't look that great. It just looked cheap, and what it
No
does for
paper.
you.
No retina.
Yeah, no retina, obviously, and I don't know. Like, do I need to see a tweet that shows up on my wrist when I just want to take out my beautiful Retina display phone and read it on there? I mean, I don't know. That's just me though, and I like to buy everything.
This is the truth. If you could have found the place for that in your life, you would have had it. And if Colm says there's no place in his life, then there really, I don't know any people. I'm a watch freak, but I still find myself not wearing a watch, even when I feel like it's a good thing. I don't know if wearable computing at that level is really into where it's at. Apple will have to meld fitness, style, productivity, and also efficiency into this iWatch. It's probably going to be a flexible display. It's probably going to have to be a pretty big one that does like what the Nike Fuel Band does, where it kind of wraps around your wrist a little bit.
Right,
And
right.
it's going to have to be really, really cool.
Well, they're talking about using something called liquid metal for the iWatch.
Oh, really? That's the term?
Yes, liquid metal.
Interesting.
Yeah, but liquid metal, I mean, that sounds like you have to get a patent, and it's going to take a while for that. So we're pushing that back probably.
All I want is a iPad Mini Retina. When is that coming? Come on.
2014. See, I still have some life left in my eye. So you want the Mini. You definitely want the Mini. That's
Only because I when I was in LA, I picked one up. We were at the Apple store. You cannot beat the weight of that thing. I mean, it makes my which is my iPad. My iPad's not here, but that's the one bad thing is that my iPad 3 is just really heavy, and that Mini is so light and so nice to hold.
Yeah, I can't
know
go back.
it's kind of like paper.
I can't go back 10 inches. The perfect reading, the perfect comic book reading. Even the video doesn't look that much smaller because of the bezel. And the iPad that you're talking about, there may be a Mini, and we're not going to bring the rumor up. We're just going to mention it. The one they may announce non-retina in September with the iPad, they said is going to be bezel-less.
Oh, wow.
It'll be like border to border screen, which would be very cool. But I don't think it'd be cool enough to upgrade for me because I have the Verizon.
No.
Yeah, exactly. One more thing that's come a long way. We talked about the iWatch. The thing that I was talking about today with you back and forth was about the Belkin Wemo. You tweeted a few times about how much you love it. It's changed everything, and it's come so far and gotten so simple to automate at least your electrical devices and your outlets and all that stuff with the Wemo. I mean, I remember the smart home stuff used to be like thousands of dollars, and you have to wire it, and you have to do this and have switches,
Yep.
and it was so damn expensive. Now, for $40 a piece at Costco, you can get these outlets, or you can go a little bit higher and get the motion, and it's just been amazing. I'm going to do an updated review on mine because it is really just so stupidly simple, and when you use IFTTT with it. I'm going to let you talk about it because you got. I see.
I'm all in.
Show notes. You got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now.
5 devices. I put that in the show notes because I didn't know if Suncast could actually bring up the picture, but he doesn't need to. So let me just do a demonstration, shall I? So first, let me just say that I started off with one, and that was just to, as you can see right here, I can control my office light. Okay, that's nice. I have one for my bedroom. Now, it's really hot in here, so I have one for my fan, which you'll probably be able to hear it. Can you hear the fan? It's now making me cool because it's about 100 degrees in here, but I'm going to turn that off because of noise. But today, I got this, Michael. You basically were singing the praises of this one. This is the Switch Plus Motion. I didn't know it came with a switch. I guess that would make sense, but I had so many switches already. I just put that on the fan now. The fan is what I added today, but the motion is actually controlling this office light. So let me show you a little demonstration here. You'll see the light. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave. You'll see the light go off, and then I'll come walking in, and as I come to sit down, the motion light will sense me walking in and will turn on the light for me. So, audience. Oh, for everyone on the audio version, sorry, you need to download the video version.
I'll narrate. I can't because it's delayed. I forgot. I'm going to narrate like 10 seconds afterwards.
All right, so he's out of the room right now, and he's got the light turned off if you're not able to see the video. I can kind of see this in real time. He's holding out his phone. He's going to walk into the room
exciting.
now, I believe.
I'm going to sit down on my chair.
He's into the room, sitting down, and the light is now
that?
on.
Now I've set it also in the rules, and you set the rules actually in the app. I set the rules so after there's no motion for an hour to turn off the light. And the sensor is, can I actually get it to show you? I can't get it to show you guys. I put the sensor back here where my desk is because when I'm usually working, I'm moving around, I'm turning so it'll sense the motion. But now, since I said if there's no motion an hour to turn it off, that way it'll just turn off and when I leave the office, when I go to bed or whatever. So I am loving it.
Now, the motion, though, doesn't have an outlet switch built into it because I had someone had vacuumed over my motion thing in front of the litter box, and it's not a switch. It's basically a motion. You can operate something with it, but it's really just is there a plug for it? Or
it actually, with the rules, you can set it up to control, like, I can have a motion for when I move to it can turn on all the other switches. You tell it which switch to operate, and you can set up multiple rules.
Oh, you're a little bit ahead of me. So that motion can set up for 3 other standalone switches from the Wemo and say turn these on the network.
Exactly.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. So you taught me.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying it came with another switch, but I didn't need to use that one because I already had other ones I wanted it to control. So I just threw that on. I had a fan that in this room, for some reason in my house, there's no air vent in this room. So when the doors are closing here, it just becomes a sauna. So I'm about to pass out, but yeah, it's awesome. I'm super in love with this whole thing, and like you said with IFTTT, it's kept a record of everything in my Google Drive. You can set it up to do different things. It's just awesome, and I haven't looked at it since I just got the motion part. I haven't looked up what I can even do with that, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome too.
Yeah, I had the classic. Every time the cat uses the litter box, it would send me an email.
Yeah, that's right. You can send that. So I could put this, like, when Jacob gets older, I could have another one by the back door, which he would come in and it could email me every time he comes home, even though my security system already does that too. So,
yeah. Is the next upgrade now? Chris Johnson was asking that it's $40 a piece for the actual just the outlet switches. For the motion, it's a little bit more expensive, but if you go to a wholesale club like BJ's or Costco and they have them, you can get a set of 2, which I think they have. One motion and one switch for $80. They have different kinds of bundles, so it's definitely.
I believe it's yeah.
I was going to say when you compare it to the Philips Hue, which is also an amazing thing, you're talking about 3 bulbs for $200. This is a much better value and may have more function for what you want to do, especially with lights and fans and home appliances.
Right. So yeah, like Michael says, people are asking the price. It's $40 for basically the plug that you plug a device into, and then you can I don't think you can get the motion as standalone. I think you have to get it in this bundle. I could be wrong, but I think it's that, and that gives you a switch and a motion, and that's $80. So they're basically saying the motion piece is $40 as well.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's come so far. It's so simple. It's easy to understand. And I think you pronounce it IFT, not IFTTT. I don't know. We'll call it either. That is the digital hub for using just about everything. You don't even need a Wemo to really utilize IFT anyway. You can pretty much get information and text, and I get daily weather, daily Bible verses, stuff like that. There's all sorts of stuff you can automate in your life if you go to that site, and it's very easy to create or even just use someone else's recipe that they created. That's the workflow. It's called a recipe. So really good stuff, really fun stuff. And home automation was never easier and actually never cheaper. It couldn't get much more expensive back in the day. You don't even need to wire. Imagine if you had to wire that brand new house. Just one last point.
Oh my God.
You had to wire that brand new house and this stuff came out. How crazy. I would feel so dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's also crazy, because people also ask where you get it. These are even at Home Depot, which is awesome. I mean, everyone has a Home Depot pretty much near them. So, and they're on sale right now at Home Depot they usually charge, for some reason they're $50, but they're $40.
Yeah, that's a great price.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna stay in the notes. It's a little further down, but since we started talking about the iPad Mini with Retina and stuff like that, ABC News has a story a couple days ago. I think they covered on What the Tech, as a matter of fact. So if you really want this in much more detail, subscribe to What the Tech with Paul and Andrew. But Microsoft drops the price of the Surface RT to $350, down from $499. Does this make you even want the device anymore? Or are you still just like, it's an iPad and that's it? iPad's king.
It's iPad and that's it.
Yeah, Paul actually
see, but look at that in that picture right there. Are you gonna? Yeah. You don't get that keyboard for $350, right? You have to pay another $100 for that keyboard, isn't it?
Still sold separately for about $100. So
yeah, so it's $450.
Well, they did have a special at Best Buy where you got it for free, but that's over right now. It's funny that Paul really, like, if you really want to know what the RT can do and can't do, because it still confuses me compared to that and the Surface Pro, which is upwards of $1,000. You might as well get a MacBook Air. He told me, or he told us on the show, no Chrome, no Photoshop, no Visual Studio, no. God, there's a ton of stuff that you just cannot do with this thing. I mean, even talking about you can't even load Chrome on it. How crazy is that? You have to use Internet Explorer. It's so stripped down. So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely trying to blow it out. I think there's another one coming anyway. So, I don't see them even selling any of these.
Oh, that must be the real reason. That's got to be
they're blowing out inventory.
Yeah.
They should make it $99 like the touchpad, and it's still not as functional as the touchpad.
The problem with the Surface RT is explaining it to people and trying to convince them why they need this over the iPad.
Right. Totally agree with you.
Well, he hates Windows 8 anyway, Cole. Suncast has a death wish. It's like Big Brother and SD. He has a problem with you still hate Windows
everything 8. About Big Brother this season.
I do.
It's not just SD. You know what his favorite is, though, when he watches Big Brother and they show the cameras in the place. That was your funniest tweet when you're like, "Great, they're showing us SD cameras. Like, it's so great." So stupid. Every time I see that, I think of you now.
They did the technology.
They do these awesome sweeping panning shots of the cameras in the house, and all I can think is it's not even HD.
They must not know that Best Buy has like GoPros for $150
right.
They can buy, like older ones, like the two. Oh man. Well, if that doesn't, we're going to go to another tablet, and this is one that you used to love. You used to think was the best tablet ever. There's an exclusive first look on AndroidCentral.com. The first look is pics and video of the new Nexus 7, and the prices are pretty attractive. 16 gig, they leaked some prices. 16 gig, $229, 32 gig, $269, which is really, I feel like, much more competitive and open to choose than the RT by far, right? I mean, there's more competition here with the Mini than there would be with the Surface RT.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with you. So I haven't seen this story yet until you put it on there. So it has a camera now on the back. Is that what I saw?
Looking right now, yeah, it has a camera. So I'm going to look at the specs right here.
I'm actually selling my Nexus 7, I think. Because
it's still going to get keyline by or whatever next major.
Oh, really?
Was that? I think that your Nexus 7 you own will still get one more cycle of a major update.
Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't sell it then.
Usually pure Android devices get 2 full cycles. Like, if you say gingerbread and jelly bean, stuff like that, and then you're not going to get key lime pie. But I think that your Nexus 7 will. Now, the one they have here, it already has 4.3 on board, which is the next version of Android.
Who's the manufacturer?
Looks like Asus still.
Still? Okay.
Well, the motherboard's Qualcomm. It's got a Snapdragon 600. No, actually, it's Snapdragon S4 Pro. Pretty fast. And 2 gigs, let me see, 2 gigs of RAM maybe. They're not sure,
it looks just like a sexier, updated version of the current one, really, in the pictures.
It actually looks a little bit like an iPad Mini on the front.
Yeah. Not the
Very
sides
little
though.
bit. Like, it looks like the bezel was. They took a little bit away from the sides. What's
Wow.
interesting
So
too is
any price
not a
point, or
phone-
you think they'll do the same price that they have right now on it?
there was a leaked screenshot saying 229 for the 16 gig and 269 for the 32, which is wow. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, that's competitive, right?
See
Now
that
you're
that
talking-
right there, that'll kill everything else. And there's a question in the chat room: will Colm get one? No, I have a Nexus 7, and it's seriously just. Oh, here it is. Let's see if it's even charged. Probably not. Nope, dead. And that's how it is almost 90% of the time. Just a dead, worthless tablet because I use an iPad, and there's no way.
You know
There's
what's funny,
nothing.
though, is he knows where the Android tablet is, but not his iPad.
Yeah, I have no idea where that is. But that's
Yeah.
because my son likes to use that. He would open this and be like, "What is this? This is a joke."
That's his first word out of his mouth.
Yeah, joke, joke.
Well, I'm looking, it's funny about I keep telling Karen that she wants another iPad. She's like, I really like Android and all. She's going through that extended phase of what you went through,
Right.
looking at the Note 8 and stuff. But I'm explaining to her that you still have an iPad too. You're still getting updates. You're still having usability. It's stable. It works. The Wi-Fi is getting a little wonky. For some reason, those iPads, after a while, mine did it. The Wi-Fi gets a little weird. But other than that, it's a real stable tablet. And I've said to her, you wanted it, I'll get you an iPad mini. I'll get your brand new iPad with Retina. You'll never want to look at a Note 8 or a Note 10.1. It's just, you're locking yourself in. And even they have them on sale. They have the last, the Galaxy Tab 2 and 3 on, I can't even keep up with them. They're on sale for like a couple hundred less. I'm like, you don't understand. This will never, ever get an update ever. You're done, and the iPad will still run. Your iPad 1 will run faster than this. So, I
think when it comes to the Android tablets, you have to go with the Nexus brands because they get the updates. That's what it really comes down to.
That's the only reason I would think you would get a Nexus 7 over anything else. Is you get those updates with pure Android, which they don't really update. They don't update Android that much anymore anyway, if you think about it. The updates aren't coming as quickly as they used to.
No, that is true. I think the whole, mobile scene has really like slowed down in 2013. There hasn't really, like, the S4 was a big release, but outside of that, there really isn't. It's basically during holiday time when everything ramps up again.
Yeah. Oh, let me ask you a side question real quick since you brought up the S4 and Android. No plans at all to ever go back to Android?
No plans. Not after the love affair I now have with this device, realizing that it just works every single time. It was amazing on my trip. The camera, like we've said, is just always so perfect and great. And then just having those apps like Wemo and my alarm system, and even though those are on Android, just so beautiful and work so well. Look at me, I'm back.
But
I'm
what
100%
about
back.
the new Windows Phone from Nokia?
That's a great segue, John. That's what I'm about to talk about. Was the Nokia Lumia 1020, the successor to the 920?
What is that
Once again,
bulge?
Well, don't be fooled by that. Don't be fooled. That's what I said to her too. Don't be fooled by that. But this phone here, that was a joke, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
This phone here, Andrew and Paul and What the Tech talked about it. I'm glad I listened because there's a lot of information, especially about this phone. It looks in these pictures like it's that S4 zoom camera, which is a nightmare. Did you see that thing?
Yeah,
What
nightmare.
The hell is that? That's the kind of stuff that I thought this would represent. But according to Paul and Andrew, they got a firsthand look at this, and it is not. I repeat, it is not heavy like the 920. It's actually very much lighter than 920, if you can believe that.
I can't.
The only thing you can.
I can't believe it. No, it looks like it would be twice the weight, doesn't it?
That's what they said. Now I don't know if they were talking about with or without, because isn't this camera kind of like a battery attachment to the phone? Okay.
Yes.
That's so bizarre.
How bizarre? How bizarre.
Well, I'm just trying to look at the specs here and see that I see right here. Recommended accessories: camera grip for the Nokia and its different colors. And
Yeah, there's other pictures there that show just the phone, but it
The
still
white.
has that circular thing, doesn't it? Like on the back.
yeah. The sensor's a lot bigger. So I'm looking at 41 megapixel sensor. If people are
The
peer
new
ver-
software they have too is pretty awesome. I mean, they're doing what they need to do. They realize that people love the camera on the iPhone, and what they're really stepping it up in the camera department.
I'll say this right now. This kind of technology here, if they do the same thing they did with the 920 and they made
Right.
it like 450 unsubsidized, like no contract price, this could be like a really neat toy to have and try to use software and take some really cool photos. This could be like a point and shoot camera with your backup phone. Think about it. I need a point and shoot camera. I love the iPhone, but I just have this as a backup phone. But the software makes it. I'm sure Apple will use this somewhere in iOS 7 too. They'll bring this camera technology over to the next iPhone. But I'm looking right here. It's surprisingly 4.5 inch screen, so a little bit smaller than the 920 which is 4.7, I believe.
Right, but
it's
you're
got a
saying
clear-
450. Is it 450 a good enough price for you to say, you know what, 450 is worth having that other camera that's $450 better than the iPhone 5's camera? I don't know.
I don't know. I've heard it. I've heard this camera is a kick-ass camera. We talk about it, and we love the 920. What it all came down to with us is apps. What are the apps going to be like when the 1020 is released? We'll have a good navigation app. Google Maps is never coming here because of Bing. There's never going to be Google Now. There's never going to be Siri. There's nothing close to that. You really do. It's not the sacrifice on hardware. It's not the sacrifice on pictures, even though a little bit on the 920. Not with this camera from what I've seen. The sacrifice is the ecosystem. You have to really compromise what we do every day with our phones if we were going to go with this.
Interesting.
Oh, the pixel density is what's the pixel density of the 4 or the 5? The iPhone 5.
I believe it's 8.
Yes.
No, pixel density. No, PPI. I'm sorry, on the screen.
Oh, PPI?
Yeah.
It's
What is
like
it, 5?
352 or something like that.
This is 334 on this phone, which is a little bit, but the clear black, I guess, brings it up. Here's a weird thing. The aspect ratio, I've never seen this before. The aspect ratio is 15:9.
What?
15.
That doesn't make any sense. I've never heard of that.
I've never seen that before, ever. That is the
Yeah.
weirdest thing. So looking at 2,000 milliamp battery, but
is something like this really going to entice you to go for a Windows Phone? Windows Phone doesn't necessarily have the greatest track record out there, so is having a super awesome camera on there something that would make you want to give it a shot, or at least use it as a backup phone?
Well, you should ask General Destroyer that question. He'll give you an answer that involves
What's something?
Yeah, exactly.
I
I'm going to read
censor
the
myself.
camera specs. So if you're talking about the camera, the main camera sensor is 41 megapixels, pure view technology. Camera resolution is 7712 by 5360. Main camera focus auto type is autofocus. Carl Zeiss Tesla lens. Sensor size, this is important, 1 to 1/1.5 inches. Is that 1 to 1.5, or is that 1 and I don't know what that is. The aperture is 2.2. The focal length is 26 millimeters. So that's a wider angle lens, right, Colm?
Yeah.
That's what it means?
Yeah.
Okay. Minimum focus range, 15 centimeters. Dozen in JPEG, Xeon flash. Flash operating range, 4 meters. This is where there's an auto flash function I saw in the 920. The same thing that this has with low light pictures. It can really bring out it almost takes better pictures in the dark than the light. That was the 920. So, am I tempted by this? Probably not. I'll probably buy it, try it out, and then bring it back like I did the 920.
Right.
That's it.
No, it's great that they're still doing it. It's just that I heard such nightmare stories from people who had the 920, and Nokia needs to do something. It's almost like they need to, I don't know, also have an Android phone maybe. in my
Well, there was
opinion.
talk about that, but I think they're still all in with Microsoft, and they have to
Yeah,
be.
they are.
At this point. I was going to say 920s. Are they recalled yet? I mean, that's what I had asked a few people who had to win the 920s. They were having a lot of problems with them, and I didn't know if they sent them in or they haven't squared that away. That. Already announced this one, so who knows? Do you
So is there any price on this yet, or we don't know that?
That's Microsoft. They just tell you it's coming later this year.
Right, of course. Right.
Of course.
Wonderful.
You know what? There's a lot of people out there, I think, that are on their way, especially with Google Voice and other things that does SMS, on their way out of getting rid of their text messaging plans, which are $20 to $30, depending upon whether you have a single or a family plan. And a very popular app, Coleman, I've tried it out before, and it does work well. And this, I'm talking about a year or two ago, it worked well. Got to be better now. It's called WhatsApp, and it's actually cross-platform. So if you have an Android or an iOS device, it'll work the same, so you can text across. It's not just it's like an extended version of iMessage. Well, they expanded their business model to iOS, and it'll cost users, and you ready for this, a whole 99 cents per year to use the service.
Genius.
It is genius.
It is. I've always seen this app in the like top apps and never have used it, and always wondered like who's using this app. And now I see why.
Well, their subscriber base is in tens of millions. I knew there was a lot of people using it. I downloaded it a long time ago, and it's beautiful that if you're on Android, BlackBerry, or Windows Phone, there's very little apps that work all across those where you can communicate with other people. Also, the update, I think you can do different stuff with multiple pictures. You can do a lot of different stuff with this. Wait, let me see here. 99-cent yearly fee after the first 12 months of using it.
So you get a year of it.
Bad. So you don't have to pay ahead of time. You have to pay if you use it for a year. That's odd.
By the way, you can download it for free right now in the App Store.
So
I did download it.
Is it like on Android where it's a text replacement? Is that how it works?
Yeah, what I would say is that WhatsApp, here's my analogy, and you tell me if it's accurate. A big Google Voice user, so are you, so are a lot of people. I think this is the solution for the people who use Google Voice for text and don't have text plans, but are kind of upset that you cannot do MMS, cannot send pictures and stuff like that. WhatsApp can do that. So it's sort of and I don't know how it works, if it works on your screen name. Suncast, does it work on a screen name or a login or your Facebook? Or how would you determine, like, how would I message Suncast or Colm through WhatsApp to see, I don't
honestly,
have phone
I
numbers.
don't know enough about the program to know how it functions, what it goes off of. I think it does have handles on there that you can message people with, though.
But with so many, I mean, like, it's so weird. It's like I have so many different groups of friends, right? I have some friends I only communicate on through Facebook chat. I have some friends I only communicate through Steam chat. I have some friends only on Twitter. It's like there's so many of those free services out there. There's always a way to get in touch with me based on how you know me. So what would make me want to go to this? Is it just to get rid of my text plan? But I already have mostly everyone I know has an iPhone. So I already have iMessage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a lot of plans these days have unlimited text messaging included.
Yeah, that too.
Now with AT&T, you don't. It's an extra $20 a month.
Yeah, I know it is.
I need to get rid of. This is very unique. There's a few things here about WhatsApp. I'm going to read this. There's no hidden cost. You can use it over 3G Edge Wi-Fi when available. Multimedia, send video, images, and voice notes to your friends and contacts. Group chat. Enjoy group conversations with your contacts. Add or remove group participants. Change group subject and set a group icon. Set a profile photo. No international charges, obviously. Say no to pins and usernames. Why bother having to remember yet another pin or username? WhatsApp works with your phone number just like SMS would and integrates flawlessly with your existing phone address book. No need to log in and out. No need to add buddies. Your address book is used to automatically connect you with your contact. And the ones that already have WhatsApp Messenger will be automatically displayed under favorite, similar to a buddy list. Offline messages, even if you miss your push notifications or turn off your phone, WhatsApp will save your messages offline until you retrieve them during the next application you use. Share location and places, exchange contacts, wallpaper, custom notification sounds, landscape mode, message timestamps, email chat history, broadcast messages, media to many contacts at once, and much, much more. I mean, it's free right now. It's not a bad app.
I might check it out since it's free.
Yeah, I mean, I got it right here. So I've used it before, and it worked very well for me. We're talking about way back, and I mean, I used it just to mess around with it. I was pretty satisfied with it, but this 99-cent model of 12 months after use is very unique too. You're not paying for the subscription up front. It's if you use it for a year under the subscription, you pay 99 cents at the end of the year. That is not a bad deal.
No.
WhatsApp is a very interesting program if you actually look at the history of this application. Because from what I remember, they actually started out with a BlackBerry application.
Really?
And I honestly don't think they really got any sort of traction until they started moving away from BlackBerry and started having an iOS and an Android app. I think that's when this application really took off. Because they had this application for BlackBerry, I think in like 2009.
Wow.
This is very easy. What it did was it asked me my phone number, and then they just had the code. It texted me right away. I put the code in, and it said, "You're ready. Well, enjoy your free year of service, 99 cents a year after that." And access to photos, profile pictures, very easy.
But here's my problem with that though, is like if I text you, is it going to go not only to that app but also your other app, and you're going to have two red number ones there, and you have to go into both to make it disappear? Because I can't stand that.
No, what it's going to do, I think, is you put this where you put messages if you were going to replace your text messages, and that's it. And basically, you open up that app to send me the message, and it goes through the app and sends me a push notification. That's what it looks like to me.
So you're not going to get two notifications, one from messages and one from that.
No. This is connected to your phone number, but I think it's within the app.
Okay.
Here, we added all your contacts to favorites. It's a very nice app. It looks cool.
I'll have to check it out.
I mean, it's as simple as that. It's all set up and ready to go that quickly. So it's free right now. Download it. What do you got to lose? Nothing really. Something that's not free. It just came in the App Store. I don't know if I want it or not. Maybe you guys can help me with this, since we do a podcast and we do some audio stuff and some voiceover work. Apple has launched Logic Pro X to the App Store for, I believe it is $200. If not, it's, let me see.
Really? That's all it is now? Wow.
I don't know. It used to be a $800 app or something.
Yeah, my dad.
Refunds to anybody that purchased it in the last 30 days.
So how much is it, Michael? $30.
No, 200. No, it's main stage 3, which I have no idea what main stage 3 is. But I'll tell you this: you can get this, and then on your iPad you can use the Logic Remote, which is a free app on top of that. That's pretty cool. And it points.
I mean, I wish I could even use an app like this. I mean, it's way above my skill level. But if I were an audio engineer, I would be just jumping up and down. So yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's smart that Apple is sort of repricing all these pro apps. It's like they did it with Final Cut when we were able to get. How much did we pay for Final Cut? 200 or 300? 300. And both you and I love that program, even though a lot of people still swear by the other one. But they're doing that. Unlike what Adobe's doing, where now you can't even buy the apps; you have to pay a rental fee, which I will not do that. I'm gonna just stick where I am with CS6.
Do you think they're ever going to shut that down on you and make you have to?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah, I'm sure they
eventually.
will. I'm gonna write it out as long as I can, because there's no way I want to pay them money, monthly money, to use that. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, you have more of an engineering type mindset, Suncast. At least I think you do, from what I know. Oh. This is something I know way back in the day that people used before, that really wanted to make their podcast or their audio shows or their online radio shows more professional sounding. Is this something that would interest the GFQ network to say, hey, we can use this program to really step up at least our audio game?
Probably not. This is more for, I believe, music production, that type of deal.
Right.
It's more. I don't think it. I think it's more than what you need for a podcast type of deal. I mean, if you wanted to create some sort of music and layer tracks and all that sort of deal, I think this is a great program for that.
This is for Jim Johnson.
Yeah, pretty much. We can get by great with GarageBand. There's a lot of stuff GarageBand can do, and I think what they did with Logic X is they changed the shading, but it reminds me of GarageBand. What's that?
Yeah, exactly. I think they did the same thing where they made Final Cut more like iMovie.
Yeah, and that really they couldn't have. They had a lot of people hating on Final Cut, but Final Cut's come around. The multicam edits.
I love it.
All the hey, you can do so much with Final Cut Pro 10, and to back it up for anybody buying a new Mac, and you want to download a really easy video editing program that's very cheap, go to the Mac App Store and get iMovie. iMovie is still a very powerful. The entire iLife suite is a very powerful and more affordable than ever suite of creative applications that you can't beat. You can. I mean, iMovie was my go-to forever until Final Cut Pro 10.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get to your Turtle Beach headphones. Now, and a quick thing on the side, Colm did get a little bit upset with me because this was at the top, and I just I didn't push it down on the bottom. I just saved the best for last. So
is that what it is? Fine. I'll accept
sort of. Well, we do video games second anyway. That was usually the unofficial, Mac stuff, and then video games, even though the Oya started it out. So we want video game, Mac, and then now back to video game. So I have the DX12s. Still love them. Great wired headsets. These are PX22s that Turtle Beach sent you. What's your thoughts on it so far?
All right, PX22s. I've used them. Last night was a full gaming session with these. All right, they are a retail price. I believe they're $70 or $80. You'll probably be able to get them on cheaper on Amazon. I forgot to check up the price, but they're going to be around $80. These are the officially licensed Major League Gaming version of the Turtle Beach. What can I say about them? Super lightweight. That is really nice. Super long cord. The first part, I'll break it into two parts here. So this is the first part. And for audio, I better explain. It's just the headphone with a microphone on the side with a regular 3.5 millimeter jack. Okay. It has that nice material that's going to pretty much soak in the sweat, not keep it there. That most like those leather cups have, where it's going to get slippery, and this pretty much will just hold it there. They feel great on the head. I had no problem with comfort on them. So anyway, you take your 3.5 millimeter and you plug it into the I guess what would you call this? The control panel. So it pops in the top. Now, what's great about this is, and I guess I should show the camera, but you probably won't be able to see it anyway. It has three switches here. It has mute, of course. It has phone for when you're using them, because you can use them. That's what's great about these. They're made for the PS3, the Xbox 360, a PC, a Mac, and mobile devices. So you can also use these with your phone. So I could basically plug this into my iPhone and use them like that. And I assume you would just use the one end that you plug into the control panel. But you have different levels, and you have a medium and a high. It has its own bass control, its own treble control. So when you're playing games that some games you think sound too bassy or not, you can control it right there. It has a chat volume, a phone volume, and a game volume. So you could basically, let's say your wife or girlfriend calls you, or your boyfriend, depending on who you are, and you basically need to take the call. You could pop up the voice of that, and then still have the music of the game still in the background, like slightly. So I love that it has all that. So anyway, then it's a really long cord that goes
16 feet, I think, right?
Yes. Is that what the specs say? Yeah,
that's what the X12 has. I assume that it's at least that.
So then it's USB, and what's so good about that? It's USB powered, so no batteries, which is huge, because my other headphones require a ton of batteries that it goes through in like a week. So it has the USB here and then another millimeter jack. Now I'm assuming, and this is just what I assume, and we all know what assuming does. So I assume you can plug in the USB into the computer and take the other one and plug it into your phone, so that way you're able to take calls, listen to music, while still being connected to the computer to do chat. So that's what I assume. I have not done that. I'm going to try that out tonight, and I'll let you guys know. But I have to say, if you're looking for a gaming headset, and the quality, I forgot to talk about that. The quality was great. I thought the games sounded great. I played, what did I play last? I played Borderlands 2 with them last night, and it had, of course, the surround sound of it. But they sounded really clear, excellent. I enjoyed playing with it. Everyone said I sounded fine on chat. So, yeah, check them out if you're looking for a pair. If you don't, if you're in the wired market, I know there's a lot of people who want wireless, but if you're in the wired market and you know you're not going to be moving around and stuff, you're going to be sitting here playing your games. These right here, the PX22s from Turtle Beach, and check them out and let them know that you heard about them here on the T4 show.
All right, I have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
Now, first impression for me is they look and the features seem just to be the same as my DX12s, except I really like the blue better than the green, which is important to me. But they remind me exactly of because it has that DSS I think it's the equalizer box. You can do different stuff with it and do different types of
Oh, you have the same control
sound.
box on yours?
I have the DSS 12 on my DSS the equalizer from my DX12s. The thing that I paid $129 and it was on sale for like $100. These are brand new ones and they're still $20 less than the ones I have that are about a year old. So that's a really good thing. I'm just looking at.
Now, do yours takes batteries or not? I forgot.
No, mine's USB powered too.
Okay, it is. Okay.
And it has the surround sound processor. That's what it's called, the DSS2. I have that as well on there, and that's what you have, or you have a variation of that.
It looks, and you have the same controls of your bass and your treble and the different volume levels.
Game volume, all that stuff is the same.
So I guess maybe they, I don't know, since these are brand new, because these are a new model that they've come out with. I guess they were able to cheapen the cost of them for everyone, and I think they needed a one brand that was like officially licensed by Major League Gaming, that everyone who's in Major League Gaming can basically have, and they know what they can expect when they're sitting down at the console to compete. I like them. I have to be like, I wasn't sure. I thought they were going to be, these are going to be cheap. They're going to be terrible. I'm going to hate them. But after playing with them, like, I'm really, now I have to send these back, but I'm almost considering I'm contacting her and say, hey, how much is it for me to keep them?
I'm looking at something, that 3.5 millimeter jack, it might be for the Vita, because it said from PS Vita to Xbox 360
but
and all that. But you don't think,
but there has to be a way to connect it to your phone, because it has a whole thing with it has a phone icon in the control box, and the control box has to have a way connected.
I'll tell you what you need to get from. There's that gaming pack back that looks awesome. There's a gaming pack.
Where's that?
Yeah, you go to parts. It's $100. It's more expensive than headphones. Take your gaming headset, console, gear, and more wherever you go. In the gaming backpack, going across the street or traveling in a global tournament, is actually designed to hold your system, your accessories, and your headphones.
Oh, wow.
Pretty nice.
That is pretty nice. Yeah, but I don't know. Turtle Beach, it's always been like, for me, I was a Triton guy when I first started getting into gaming headsets, and I've been totally switched to Turtle Beach. I find all their stuff to be quality. They have great customer service. I've never had a problem when anything's had a problem. Like one time my JMAB destroyed the microphone on one of mine, and I called them up, let them know, and they sent me one right out. And I believe they were the first ones to start using this like style of the microphone that it bends.
Yeah, they are.
The telescopic. No, it's not telescopic. I forget what that's called.
Flexible.
Flexible. There you go. I don't know what it is. Anyway, that's enough. We put them over enough. They're great. They're the officially licensed of Major League Gaming. It's not surround. I'm sorry. It's amplified stereo. So there you go. But yeah, and mobile gaming, you're right. It is featuring the Vita. So I'll have to try them out with my Vita because I've never found, I mean, I've just used my Apple headphones to play with that. And there is chat on the Vita, so I wonder if that would work with it too.
That would be pretty good. Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what we're going to do before we go to Netflix? We'll go to some of the questions through Twitter at Michael Manna and also Culmination and also on the Facebook page. I got to start putting that up on the T4 show one when we get more likes. Kyle Duffield, the first question, I'm just going to go through because we've answered some of these.
Lightning round.
Hey, lightning round. So what made Cole make the switch back to iOS? Will he go back to Android? I think we answered that every episode now.
Well,
So-
let me real quick. The main thing was
Yeah.
I got into a car that had Bluetooth. My Note 2 worked the first time I got into it. Got out of my car, ran my errand, got back in. Didn't work the second time. I got completely pissed that it just doesn't work. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
We have an Iaz in the chat room. I wonder if that's the famous Iaz from Twit. Possibly. Maybe. He's Andrew's best friend now.
Oh yeah, no, he's not putting over the chat room. Of course, the chat room was really lively, and then he comes in and everyone quiets down. Thanks.
You're saying he ruined it. That's
Yeah.
what you're saying. All right. We got 3 questions from Christopher. First question, I think we answered this a little bit. A couple questions for you. Just cut the cable. What are your favorite media apps? Which ones are worth paying for? On my end, I would say Plex. If you have a library of stuff, Plex is great. But for pay, I think the best thing to do is have an Apple TV, have Netflix, possibly Hulu Plus, but also visit iTunes and see what you can get for the season pass. Really look at what you watch,
True.
and that'll determine. Also, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get Amazon Instant Video, but usually Netflix and Amazon Instant Video are about the same exact stuff from what I've seen. What about you?
I can't agree with you more. I mean, there are other methods to just get whatever you want, but yeah, that way, what you suggested is definitely the route to go.
Yeah, so you don't get into the. I mean, you could do what Suncast doesn't. Don't do anything. But
What do you
Don't
do,
ever-
Suncast?
what do you do?
I can't talk about it.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I didn't want to talk about it either. That's a terrible question. Go search the internet. Why don't you Google it? How about that?
Let's go to the next question. Christopher has 3, like I said. The second one, what's the best portable charger block? On my end, I went to London and I went to Germany before that this past few months, and I used the iSound 12,000 milliamp power block, and it charged up everything. It has 5 USB ports, cost about $80 on Amazon. So if you're talking about one that's going to be the absolute monster, the absolute workhorse to charge stuff, that's probably the one I would go with for the price.
And yes, I found it just in
Oh,
time.
I was like, where'd you go? I can't see this live.
Yeah, sorry. Here it is. This is this one I love. I talk about this one all the time. It's the Mophie right here. It's got, what is the model number? I can't see it.
I let it pronounced Moth.
It's the C. You know what it is, John?
No.
Looks like the C0111. I can't read it. I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared for this one. This, you can basically look at it and search Mophie online. It's got 2 USBs here,
Power
a
station?
micro. Which one?
Is that the power station?
I don't remember. That doesn't sound familiar. So anyway, it's got the two USBs, a micro. It has a way with a button on the side. You can tell right now I have 1 charge left. I get around 3 to 3.5 full iPhone charges off this thing. It keeps a charge too for a long time. I don't go anywhere without this. I mean, this is always in my bag, especially now with an iPhone that I don't have the battery I can switch out like when I had my Note 2. And this thing is a lifesaver. I absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. And it's so small. Look at, I mean, it's shorter than the iPhone 5. It's about too thick of an iPhone. It's pretty light. You can basically throw it in your cargo pants as well. I think it runs like $80 as well too. So this is the one I love.
That's good for portability. You can go either way if you have portability with what you have, and it's still around. I think those are around 6,000 milliamp or a little bit more on that size. But if you're on a long trip, obviously, milliamps is really key to what you want. So that's why I did what I did with the iSound. Last question. This is going to have to do. We didn't even cover really the AT&T and T-Mobile new upgrade plans. But Christopher asked, last question, what are your thoughts on the AT&T new upgrade plan? Keep up the good work. Thanks. My head almost hurts really bad when I try to piece together the two carriers and what in the hell they're trying to do. I'm just like saying, I'm just going to buy the phone outright, go to Newton's Head or Gazelle, trade it in, get my cash, and look for a new one. Easier than, I don't even know where to start. They're making money one way or the other. The only thing in the end, in my opinion, and it's a fact actually, that in the end of that year, for all the premium that you're paying and all this stuff and that, it's almost like you're renting the phone and you have to give it back to them at the end of the year. Then you have to pay again for another one. So they get to resell the phone and double dip what they got from you, and you get kind of like left in a lurch just because you have to have a brand new phone. I really think it's better to just buy it and try to Craigslist it or trade it into one of the online sellers. I don't think it's after having time to think about it, I don't think it's really, at least not for me, a good deal.
Not only that, but like the AT&T Next ones, their plan, if I remember correctly, or that they're thinking of doing, they charge a different amount depending on which device you have, which makes it even more confusing. So if you have an iPhone 5, it's going to be one price. If you have a Samsung S4, that's going to be another price. If you have a Samsung S3, that could be a different price.
Yeah, like I said, my head hurts.
No, it's I mean, Michael, you're the person who's gone through and basically examined all these different plans, from the pay as you go to Sprint, AT&T's, and the Verizons, and it's just like it's going to take like one company to come out with like the simplest form of one, and the only, actually forget about what I just said. Have you guys, there's a better plan than I saw that I was more intrigued with. It's that T-Mobile upgrade plan. Did you guys see that new one that they have now?
No, I'm talking about Jump too. You're talking about the Jump plan. I think AT&T and T-Mobile are both doing the same thing, because in the end of that year, even though they give you 2 upgrades,
is that what it's called?
Only gives you 1. It's called Jump. Yeah. So
okay. So wait, you're not for it, or you're against? You are for it?
I think I'm against doing this. It's an improvement, but the thing that happens is that people have to turn in their phone. So you're paying the monthly premium, you pay the subsidized price, and you're paying a subsidized price plus you're paying that fee per month from the last no contract plan. Remember that? The 10 or 20
So it's
bucks
almost like a car lease, it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah. And you turn the phone back in at the end of the year, or when you upgrade. In the case of T-Mobile, you get 2 upgrades. AT&T, at the end of that 1 year, you turn in the phone. You don't get to keep it.
Yeah, but see, I think for like how you and me run through phones, I think it almost makes more sense in a way.
But the cost of it is only slightly cheaper than buying it outright.
Right, but then you don't have to deal with the whole thing of you and me always having to go to like a Newton's Head and sell our phones back. Or, I mean, you know what? It might be an option that I'm interested in, actually, because I was looking at the one for T-Mobile. I didn't realize. And Ayaz in the chat says he believes that the AT&T one's called Next. So I didn't realize
Verizon has one as well.
He's right. Yeah.
Verizon has something that they're coming out with. I believe it's called VZ Edge.
Yeah, Edge. So this is the whole thing now. So everyone's doing that.
Yeah. The T4 show is going to release one with the GFQ network called Pancakes. So there you go. Name
Uncle
it
Bill's?
We can do it too. See?
Uncle Bill's?
I think
Uncle
it's just
Bill's
hilarious
Pancakes.
that T-Mobile announced Jump, and all of a sudden now AT&T has Next, or they're going to announce Next, and Verizon says, "Oh yeah, we're going to have one that's going to be called Edge." Right after T-Mobile does it.
I think it's a great idea. I'm for it. I can't believe that you're not for it, Michael.
I didn't say I wasn't for it. I just don't think it's for people like me. And yeah, the only thing you're going to get, and I'm going to get from this point on, are iPhones. Yeah. So if you want to upgrade to the 5S, you don't have a good network with T-Mobile where you live. I don't have a great one where I live. I don't know about Detroit with Suncast. T-Mobile works great in some places, but I don't think subscribing to a plan with AT&T in order to upgrade the same amount of time or the same frequency that I'm going to anyway is really worth it to go through all that trouble to get locked into another subscription within my subscription.
Plus, it
Make it
probably
more
takes away our
sense.
unlimited data plan.
Oh, that's a great thing. Yeah, if you switch over, what happens?
It's over.
Yeah, they try to get there. I'm not letting go of that for nothing. Forget that. So we're going to go to Facebook, and this is under my personal account, Michael Manna. Ayaz, you're more than welcome to add me as a friend if you'd like. Let me look here. Joey Image ask. This is a great question, actually, right off of what we talked about. Any point to jailbreaking anymore after upgrading to iOS 7, given the new features coming? My honest opinion is I don't even think it's really worth jailbreaking with iOS 6. I think I have
agree.
everything I want right now.
You know what? I used to think that you needed to jailbreak and it'd be stupid if you didn't. But now, like, the phones do everything you need. I mean, the jailbreak community, I'm sure there's like 1 or 2 apps that we don't have yet. And especially like that SB settings where you can turn on and off your Bluetooth and your screen but that's coming in iOS 7. It's just too much of a hassle. There's too many things that always go wrong with it. I mean, we all know from me talking on this show about what I did with my Android with rooting, and that I don't even understand that anymore. So no, I agree with you. There's no need anymore.
Awesome. Well, Tony on Facebook asked us if we've had any success playing PSX ROMs, and I assume he's talking about the Ouya because he's very interested in the Ouya. Have you gotten the PS1 ROMs to run yet?
Yes. I played Metal Gear Solid. I played on it. It was amazing. The only thing, like we've noticed with all the other games, is just mapping that controller to buttons that you can use. And what's great about the Ouya controller, I mean, it's very similar setup to the PS1 controller, so it can be done. And the only difference was the games are much bigger. Like Metal Gear. Why can I say that today? Metal Gear Solid was like 1.6 gigs, so you're gonna have to use a bigger USB stick.
Yeah. Well, the next question I really don't know the answer to is, where do babies come from?
Oh man.
I had a couple.
The
I had
store,
even Victoria's action figure here. I was going to demonstrate where they come from, but I'll just do this with my finger.
Family
and this.
show, Michael.
I'm not doing this. The people on audio will not be bothered by that.
We're
That's it.
offline now.
What's that?
We're offline now. We
We're
got
offline?
censored. Yeah, because you did
Who's
that.
got
You got
censored?
censored.
Oh, okay. That's all right. Whatever. Anyway, that was a joke question. Now we're going to go. You know, the question's great. I think it's going to be a weekly thing, Coleman. It really is some great questions from people, and it gives us a chance to kind of brush up on stuff that we weren't, like the jailbreaking thing. We haven't visited that in so long or even talked about it because it hasn't been an issue, and really makes you appreciate your iOS device a lot more since rooting your Note 2. So it's funny. Ayaz in the chat room, Ayaz from Twit. I want to let you know that Colm made the mistake of treading over into the Android world and then rooting his phone, and now obviously has an iPhone 5 and is very happy with it. So we welcome him back. He's back.
It's so wonderful to be back. I just look at it sometimes and I'm like, why did I ever leave you? You're so beautiful and sweet. And
All right, this
sorry,
is where
we still.
now we're going to find out where babies come from in about a minute. How's that? All right, so
exactly.
we're talking about Netflix. We talked about streaming. People asked us about media apps, and obviously the one that we've had for the longest time, I think the standard bearer, I think the pioneer of all this is Netflix. And definitely in my media viewing experience, it's probably the best app that you can have out there for content, for a library, and for just instant streaming. So, and we're proud to be a part of Netflix with netflix.com/GFQ. And if you go there to netflix.com/GFQ, you get a free 30-day trial. But as we say every week, Colm, you're not going to last that long. You're going to subscribe and at least get the streaming plan for $8 a month. If you have a family plan, if 4 people want to stream all at the same time, no problem. For a little over $12 a month, right? I always get the price wrong. Is it $11.99 or $12.99?
$12.99 for the family.
Why do I'm always stuck on the $11.99 for some reason?
I know
don't
you always think that. I don't know why.
Am I predicting they might have a price drop? I don't know. So anyway, for $12.99, still a great deal. Up to 4 devices in a household at once can all be streaming off the same Netflix account. Really great deal. And I have a different pick this week, Colm. You're going to be shocked.
I can't believe it. I saw it in the notes and I was like, who wrote that? Suncast?
For the sake of people new in the chat room, I pick a Justice League movie every week, or Justice League episodes from their TV series. And this week, I'm going to pick something that's still along the lines of that. Prophets of Science Fiction. I don't know if you ever watched this, Colm. Have you?
Never. No, I'm looking at it right now and never seen it.
Just looking at it, does this look like something that might interest you as far as being a sci-fi person, being a person who's into this stuff?
Is this a conspiracy type of science fiction thing?
No, it's not. Here we go. I knew you were going to say that.
I knew it was.
I'm going to read right from the Netflix site. Episodes focus on great minds of sci-fi whose spark of imagination changed our reality. See what events influence the prophecies and the animation that brings them to life. Once visionary technology is now put into practice. So basically, George Lucas, H.G. Wells, Mary Shelley, all these different things that we grew up with. As far as, I mean, I figured you would see George Lucas and say, wow, I'm going to watch that because it has to do with Star Wars. Mary Shelley has to do with Frankenstein. And it's talking about technology that we're putting into practice today. It was all on the lines of science fiction in movies and novels. So I think it's an excellent series. I think you would really, really enjoy it.
Fine, I'll try one and then I'll get back to you. But if there's anything about a conspiracy going on here, I'm out.
I haven't watched them all yet, so I can't guarantee that. All right, yeah.
Well, my pick, Michael, is not streaming. It is physical media that you can get from Netflix, and it has to do with my previous trip since I was out in LA going to the Newsroom season 2 premiere. I'm going to suggest the Newsroom season 1, which I'll have to admit here to everyone, I only watched Newsroom season 1 to watch my sister's scenes, and I didn't watch any of the rest of the show. So I decided now, since I met the cast and know the cast, I needed to watch the season, and I'm in love with it. I'm already on episode 9 of it out of 10. Such a great show, and especially since I'm aware of the news, and it's all about news stories that happened in the past. And friend of the show, Matt Ellenberger, who he works at a news station. He told me that they all watch it, and it's very true to life. And so I've gotten into it, and I think it's excellent. And of course, my sister's in the show, so it's even better. So check it out if you haven't seen it, the Newsroom, because season 2 has just started. Episode 1 was Sunday. This Sunday is my sister's episode, so you all have to watch it this Sunday to see her on it. So
you should have took a real fan.
I'm a real fan. Now
you didn't even watch season 1,
but now I am. I knew all of it.
Oh yeah. After the fact, yeah. After you've met everybody, yeah.
Well, now
I'll tell you
appreciate it.
I'll tell you this in all seriousness. The opening of season 1 in Newsroom is something I revisit and watch. That opening, the opening soliloquy or statement from the main character, played by Jeff Daniels, correct? Did I get the name right? Jeff Daniels?
Correct. Yeah.
What he does is just amazing and really just captures you right there from season 1 when he basically he's somebody that always toes the line, always says the politically correct thing, and he just basically he does his best Michael Manna unfiltered impression and just goes off on everybody. So it is pretty amazing.
And I really love the intro to season 2 now. They redid like the opening montage is so well done now. And I like it better than season 1. But you're talking about, that opening scene where he talks about where basically we are as a country. And it's unbelievable. It really tells everything where we are as a country right now. And it's very cool to see. So watch it.
Yeah, watch all the scenes too.
Go to netflix.com/GFQ and you get a 30-day trial. So there's no reason why you can't watch the whole season.
Very true. Very true. Also, other things like Arrested Development, Hemlock Grove. What's the other one? That jail one? I forget.
Oh, that one just launched. Orange is the New Black. Just launched. That's another new Netflix. House of Cards.
Vampire Prosecutor.
Vampire Prosecutor. See the way I say it? The New Girl. Bunch of original content. So basically, Netflix is becoming its own little TV network too. So you have all that exclusive content you don't get anywhere else. Very, very cool. So like he said, netflix.com/GFQ. And now we will basically close out the show and tell you where you can follow us and send all the hate mail to. You can follow me at Michael Manna. You can follow him at Culmination. Follow Suncast with a K. I noticed you started doing that, spelling it out for people. Suncast with a K with his big brother hate tweets. And also you can follow at GFQ Network. And there's also at Andrew Zarian. He's the owner and founder. You can follow at Iaz too, who I'm following now on Twitter. He's in the chat room. And make sure if you have any questions or anything, to email us at t4show@gmail.com. But for now, for everybody here at T4 Show and where babies come from, thank you and best of luck in all your future baby making endeavors.